Joining us right now is Mr. Rostyslav Khotin, journalist from Radio Liberty. Now, sir, before we dive deep into this topic, we do have a statement made by Zelenskyy during this Shangri-La summit. So let's take a look.
We are very thankful to be in your country and which supports Ukraine, our territorial integrity and sovereignty. Thank you so much for your big word and clear position about us, about this Russian occupation of our territories, and thank you on your support on the in UN nations with your resolutions. Mr. President, I'm happy to hear today from you that you participate our peace steps to the peace. That's the real thing. What really want our people, just to bring peace to our homes. Yes, and thank you for participation of Peace Summit. That's very strong signal. Like I said, we have for today more than 100 countries. I think this will be maybe not the last again, but the first very strong step on the way to peace. And I am also very happy that this year we will open embassy in Manila.
Of course, the summit in Shangri-La is mostly to discuss defense in the Indo-Pacific, but any defense-related topic will be remiss to not involve Ukraine and the current war in Russia into the topic. So, Mr. Khotin, can you help us understand what the Zelensky's presence in Singapore can bring, and when it comes to this unique opportunity for him to have a dialogue with leaders over there?
You know, for Ukrainian president, for Ukraine general, amid the Russian aggression against Ukraine, the support of the global South is of extreme importance. And that's why Zelenskyy last year took part online in Shangri-La dialogue in Singapore. And this year he went himself there personally, in person, to be represented. You know, Ukraine is fighting for support, competing with Russia for support of Southeast Asia, countries, Asian countries, as well as, of course, Latin America, Africa, and other Middle East, other regions. Especially this presence, Zelenskyy visit to Singapore, and now he's in Philippines. In the Philippines, should be understood that Ukraine is preparing the first peace summit in Switzerland in the middle of June, and wants to invite as many countries as possible. So far, more than 100 countries confirmed their participation, to 106 to be precise. But China is not there, unfortunately, for Ukraine. And now it seems that Saudi Arabia won't be there either. Both countries cited that Russia will not be there. That's why we are not going as well. That kind of logic from Riyadh and Beijing. But in Asia, Ukraine is interested in boosting political support from these countries at the United Nations. In Asia, Ukraine is a major exporter of agricultural products, especially grain, to Asian countries, and generally seeks kind of support and establishing good relations with Asian countries. That's why he went personally. But also he met for the first time ever President of East Timor. He also met U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin with Defense Minister Umerov of Ukraine. And it was the first high-ranking meeting of Ukrainian leader with U.S. officials. And also he met a U.S. congressional delegation. U.S. officials, after Washington gave go-ahead for Ukraine to strike Russian military targets on Russian territory with American weapons. So it was extremely important meeting, extremely important visit in terms of Ukraine expanding its influence and connections with the global South, with the rest of the world, non-Western world. And also, of course, Ukraine is drumming support for its peace formula based on Zelenskyy's peace initiative, 10-point plan, which foresees at the end the liberation of all Ukrainian territories and 100% restoration of Ukrainian territorial integrity and sovereignty over now occupied by Russia territories of Ukraine. So it was also, he thanks American congressional delegation for support of that $61 billion package for Ukraine. So it was kind of two-dimensional visit to Singapore. One to reach out to the Asian countries, Southeast Asia, and another one to meet senior US officials.
So it was quite an eventful trip, as you mentioned, and a couple of interesting points that you tackled. I would love to stay perhaps with China first, as you already mentioned that China will most probably not be present at the peace summit. Now, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenksyy, in fact, accused China recently of aiding Russia in sabotaging efforts to hold a peace summit. And in fact, he went on to say that China and other unnamed states were actively supporting Russia's efforts to disrupt diplomatic resolutions to the conflict. But what evidence, to your mind, does Zelenskyy provide to support these accusations against China?
You know, he accused China of attempts to disrupt the peace summit in Switzerland. He accused China of aiding Russia in these efforts of disruption of this peace summit. He also thinks that China is playing Russian game in the preparation for this summit. Generally speaking, China had two reasons not to attend now, at least. First one, China wants Russia to be present, and without Russia, Beijing thinks it's the summit won't be viable. I mean, it won't achieve any results because another side of the war, of the conflict, should be presented. And second thing with China, China wants this peace summit not to discuss only Ukrainian peace plan, Zelensky's formula, 10-point formula, but China also presented its peace plan of 12 points, and China wants other peace plans, including Chinese peace plans, also to be discussed, and that's not acceptable for Ukraine. Ukraine thinks that it should be fair deal, fair peace for Ukraine, and that's why only Ukrainian peace formula is accepted for Kyiv, the fair peace for the future. China also, it seems like Saudi Arabia is under Chinese maybe influence. That's why Saudis are unlikely also to attend. It's the latest turn of events. Saudis are likely not to attend the peace summit in Switzerland, also citing the absence of Russian delegations there. We'll see. But it seems that in the autumn, the European Union, Ukraine, and other countries are preparing another summit, and probably it will be held in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh or Jeddah. We will see. But China, it seems like working hand in hand with Saudi Arabia, and both countries cited absence of Russian delegation as a reason not to attend a summit in Switzerland. Also, China, it was clear, obvious that Chinese President Xi Jinping unlikely will come to Switzerland, but Ukraine hope at least maybe Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi or special envoy on Eurasian matters Li Hui might come, but China decided not to attend completely the Swiss summit.
Can you help us understand a little bit about the rhetoric being used for the Switzerland Peace Summit? As, of course, it's a very valid argument to not have Russia involved, as they are the aggressor in this war, and for aggressor to be talking about peace could be looked as a little bit hypocritical. However, there is also the point to be made that in order for any deal, for any talks to initiate, a dialogue have to go both ways. So can you help us understand that decision to not involve Russia? And, of course, with that in effect, have also excluded China and Saudi Arabia.
You know, Ukraine is not against Russian participation, but not now. In the future, when there will be already a basis for future fair peace will be prepared, kind of agreed by the rest of the world, and then to invite Russia and look, you have to accept because it's a consensus of the whole world, of the global community. That's why Russian presence now is not accepted by Ukraine and the Western partners. Russia will not be excluded, but in the future, when there will be already a kind of firm basis for future negotiations, Ukrainian peace formula. And this summit, for instance, will discuss three main topics. First of all, swap of prisoners, exchange of prisoners, 100% exchange of all prisoners of war, including also political civilian hostages, which are kept in Russia by Russia, and also return of Ukrainian kids hijacked by Russian side from Ukrainian occupied territories. Another thing is nuclear security, nuclear safety, in light of Russian occupation, continuous occupation of Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in eastern Ukraine. And third one is food security, the export of Ukrainian products, agricultural products, grain in particular, along the western shore of Black Sea, where Russian Black Sea fleet was cornered to the eastern side of the by Ukrainian side. So Ukraine cleared up the pathway for its agricultural exports. So Russian presence now is not wanted by Ukraine, but later, maybe later, at the later stage, maybe at the next summit, we will see when it will happen and where it will happen. But Ukraine is not in principle against Russian participation, but only after the global community will work out the principles of fair peace for Ukraine based on Ukrainian peace formula, which is now and is not accepted by Russia.
Right, so it does seem like this summit is an exercise in coalition building. Ukraine is now building up its hand before coming to the table to play cards and negotiate with Russia. Thank you so much for rounding that up for us, Mr. Rostyslav Khotin. Thanks for being with us on TVP World. Appreciate it.
Thank you.